How's it going, guys? It's Paul Myers, licensed professional counselor, owner and lead therapist of Intentional Counseling. We are a group practice in Frisco, Texas, and we specialize in mental health. And today I'm going to cover a dating timeline on the topic of dating, just because I find it so relevant. I have so many clients that come in and they're going through the dating process and they're just really confused about the whole process as to what to expect and how to do it properly and what to avoid. So I'm just going to cover a general rule for dating. This is not always applicable in every relationship because every relationship is different. So I do see plenty of exceptions, but this is a really good staple fundamental philosophy to have that you can kind of carry into your dating if you're going through the dating process or dating currently or interested in dating. So over here we have two axes. There's axis 1, which is 0% down here to 100% amount of self-disclosure and emotional investment. So self-disclosure is exactly what it sounds like. You're disclosing about yourself. You're sharing more and more information about yourself. And this is appropriate to do. You have to put yourself out there. And then emotional investment usually walks hand in hand with that. Usually the more you share, the more you put yourself out there, the more invested you are. Look at it like your heart is a piece of bread and you're tearing off pieces of that loaf and handing it over. And so that's what this is. So axis 2 down here is going to be time. So we have a timeline here of 2 years. So 2 years is going to be here. A year is going to be here. And then we have 18 months. And 6 months. So 6 months, a year, 18 months, and 2 years in that order. So an ideal, I would call it like a progression, okay, that would be healthy, okay, would be more of a natural, gradual progression. So as the longer we date, we have this gradual progression, and then right over here, it kind of skyrockets. So this is a healthy development of a relationship in the ideal setting, okay? I see a common mistake where people will over-disclose too much too early, like this, and generally you're expediting the process in the relationship. It's too much, too fast. This tends to scare people away. Or the other mistake is you never really invest much, you never really open up, you never really share, and a relationship dies somewhere around here. And so those are the two biggest mistakes that I see people make. Very common, very easy to do, where I want love and I wanted love yesterday, and so I'm going to force the relationship to go too quickly, and thus actually end up hurting the relationship. Or the other way around, I'm going to be too guarded, too shielded, and that becomes detrimental to the relationship as well. So we just want a healthy, gradual, over time, natural progression that's appropriate based on how long you've known each other and how much you're investing. It should be a mutual process, not a one-sided process. So here we have from 0 to 6 months. Tends to be the most volatile because there's just a lot of change very quickly. And so generally in this little window, I call it the information gathering stage. Info gathering. So this is information gathering stage because when you're dating, you really don't know somebody. It's just the edification of two people getting to know each other. There's no blood oath, there's no serious commitment yet. And so we're just getting to know each other. We're just asking questions, spending time, and investing a little bit mutually. So it's very healthy. I will say somewhere in here, or somewhere around the 4 to 6 dates mark, usually you want to have some type of exclusivity discussion. As you've been dating, you date 4 to 6 times, there's some consistency. Just have a quick check-in with the person you're dating and just talk about the relationship, whether it's, hey, where do we see this going? Is this exclusive? Is this just us two? I'd like to either continue what we're doing exclusively or not, right? That's a good little cutoff. Usually happens in that first 6 months, okay? Second stage, if you can make it past there, if you really look at it, we're really only at about maybe, 25, 30% self-disclosure and emotional investment. So that's really not a whole lot if you really think about it, okay? So then we have phase 2, which is going to be 6 months to a year. This is when you're building a commitment. So you're building commitment, right? So commitment is kind of a core foundational requirement in relationships where you have to commit in order to make the relationship safe enough for both people to really build off that. So hey, we're both invested here, we're both committed to making this good, and we're both investing in it, right? I see a lot of people who are afraid of commitment, and what happens is they end up ironically killing the relationship prematurely because they don't want to invest in it. It's like a gardener where they say, I'm going to water this garden after it grows fruits and vegetables. So I need to make sure this garden is a really good garden. And so once it grows fruits and vegetables, then I'll water it. When it's quite the opposite. It actually takes the effort and the watering first in order to get those results. So a good methodology or ideology when it comes to relationships is they are gardens. So you get really what you put into it. Part of that's encouraging because if you invest a lot, you can get a lot. But if you withhold the investment, usually all you're really doing is stunting the relationship. So commitment's a foundational, healthy baseline for what relationships need. People that are afraid of commitment generally delay the process, hinder the process, make the relationship less safe. There's a difference between being wise and following my timeline out of wisdom to make sure you're making the right decision, which is wise, versus just completely withholding commitment altogether, which is unwise. So commitment is a core foundational thing. Once you've gotten past this information gathering, we both agree this is a good thing, we like where this is headed, this is exclusive, I say it's a good thing to start building that commitment together. Okay? So then we have phase 3. Phase 3 from year to 18 months. This is where infatuation ends. Infatuation ends around this time. So infatuation is a butterfly, puppy dog feeling, which is healthy and good and normal in any new relationships, that new car smell. And we have these feelings that are very, very potent, very good chemistry, very normal. But that is not love. That is a feeling of infatuation. Infatuation and love are different. So infatuation is a feeling. It does end 100% of the time. It can last anywhere from 6 weeks up to a year and a half if you're lucky. And so that will go away. And usually, if you're thinking about marriage and you're serious about marriage, which is a great goal, love is a worthy endeavor. That is the goal, is marriage and love. But we want to get through the infatuation phase first, generally before you get married, just to have a better realistic idea that this is a good decision. You're not making an emotional decision just off feelings that are temporary. Okay? So 18 months is a guaranteed, if you wait 18 months, it's a guaranteed way to make sure the infatuation ends so that you don't have the love blinders on, you're making good decisions, and we can get to that last phase. This last phase is going to be more of an accurate reflection of what your love is going to look like in a long-term committed relationship in a marriage, because your infatuation's over and you're really in the real day-to-day life of a relationship, and you get a more accurate representation, which is good information for anybody. Okay? So that's the goal. And after that, if this is going well, you have a really good chance at success and you're really wise about it. You can really feel safe about your decision as long as this individual is safe, right? So we have a good methodology. Like I mentioned earlier, it's like a garden. So I like to imagine that your relationship's this little seed that it starts out as this little seedling, and we plant that seed, and we're just watering and cultivating and building and growing, and eventually it grows into a tree, which as we know, trees bring life and shelter, and they're good, and they bear fruit, and it's just positive all around. And that's kind of the goal, but you don't just get the tree, you have to go through the process in order to get to it, which I find is hard for people. Everybody wants the tree, but they don't want to do the work to get the tree. And so they want to expedite, or they're too fearful to do so. Okay? So that is kind of a good general rule of thumb. Please don't take this as a conclusive, always applicable, 100% way to do something, because like I said, there are exceptions to a lot of relationships. It doesn't mean you can't be successful if you don't follow this, but it's a risk if you don't. And so just keep that in mind. This will help a lot. Very, very good mindset to have. Okay? Hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, we would love to hear from you. Feel free to leave your comments below. Or if you're dating or you have any experiences you'd like to share that helps us, we'd be more than happy to help you. If you don't have a therapist, definitely go to our website, intentional-counseling.com. Either myself or one of our trained therapists are available to either help you in person or virtually. Until then, we appreciate you guys stopping by, and take care.